Hey music fans, as a roadie I had this great opportunity to tour with all these bands. I wrote a book about my experiences on the road and it was the #1 new release on Amazon and Bios and it's now sold millions of copies on Kindle. I'm Joel Roadie and this is my podcast, Party Like a Rock Star. Are you guys ATARIS fans? I hope so. This is my buddy today, Mike Davenport. Mike is a founding member of the ATARIS. He hasn't played it in 6 years. He's going to be doing a couple live shows in April. If you're in the LA area, you guys should come and check it out. If you're interested in seeing them perform, I think there's some tickets left. You can go to Ticketmaster.com and you can grab some tickets to go see Mike and the ATARIS perform. They're going to be doing the entire album of So Long Astoria and some other fan favorites, of course, including Boys of Summer, no doubt. And so I thought it'd be fun to bring Mike on first to react to Mike Campbell. Mike Campbell's from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, of course. Mike Campbell actually wrote the track. He wrote the music to it. And so I thought it might be interesting to get some background on that and see what the other Mike had to say about that background. And so we're going to jump into this. At the end of this interview, some talk about Tom Petty's last show, and there's a really great episode on here with a couple of the guys from Tom Petty's band who were working that show. If you guys want to check that out, here's a link to it. It's with Chris Adamson and Richard Fernandez. That's, I believe, the production manager and the tour manager of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers for decades, so it's really worth a watch. If you want to get to know Mike a little bit better, he does allude to it in the beginning. I'd interviewed him with John, who's also in the ATARIS, and you can check that link out here, and their interview was a lot of fun. We, of course, talked about why they chose Boys of Summer and how it all kind of like was put together. Anyway, let's jump into this one, and let's see what you guys think. So I'm assuming here you've never seen Mike Campbell. Have you ever seen Mike Campbell play? I was trying to find him play Boys of Summer, and I couldn't actually.
Let me talk about it when we talk, unless you want to record it right now, but I have lots of Mike Campbell stuff. How long is this video?
7 minutes and 44 seconds.
All right, cool.
Okay, so let's do it.
Welcome to our last Instagram for the year. Thank you for hanging in with us all year. It's the Christmas season and we're going away for holiday in a couple of days. And I wanted to leave you with this song, a little backstory on this tune. Back in the day, thanks to my wife, I had a TAC 4-track tape machine. And I had a friend named Roger Lynn who used to work over at Leon Russell's house, and Tom and I would go over there. And Roger would always walk by and go in the back room, and we said, well, what's he doing back there? And he said, he's building a drum machine. We thought, that's weird, a drum machine. I never heard of a drum machine like that before. And anyway, he invented the drum machine, the Lynn drum, and later on the Lynn 9000. And the first one he built was it was called Lynn drum. It was about this big, and it had a bunch of drum machine sound, actually live sounds that you could mix together like a drum machine and make your own patterns. And it was pretty revolutionary at the time. And I was able to get an FOR, which is friend of Roger price. I got a good deal on mine. So anyway, I had that in my little back bedroom with the 4-track, and I had borrowed an Oberheim OBX synthesizer. And I was playing around with the drum machine one night, and I stayed up all night just typing in tambourines and claps and hands and drums and snares, and I got a little pattern.
So I'll stop him. You musicians are the same. Did you know? He said, I had all of it in my bedroom. Bedrooms are not for all your music crap.
Yeah, that's where we are right now. We're in my bedroom.
I know.
So,
we're sleeping.
And there's my acoustic, because I often work on songs just sitting on my bed when my girl's doing work next to me on her computer, and I'll just work on songs in my bed. So you're absolutely wrong, Joel. Bedrooms are for music. So, and sleeping, amongst other things. However, you know what that reminds me of is listening to him is it triggers obviously the ATARIS. We were originally signed because of a demo with a drum machine. So that's a fact, is that my singer Chris was basically, he was this little mastermind genius in his bedroom at 16 years old, and he did all these different styles of music. He had a metal band, he had a pop punk band. His noisecore band was called MC Fuck Breath, and he would record on his 4-track with a drum machine. He would record these great little demos of these different bands. His pop punk band was called the ATARIS, and he recorded what originally would be our first record, Anywhere But Here, on a drum machine in his bedroom, and called it the ATARIS, dropped it off at a Vandals show at their merch table, and then got a call. He was in Indiana at the time, got a call from the A&R people over at Kung Fu Records and said, "We love your demo. Bring your band to California and let's record an album." And he thought they were fucking with him, hung up the phone, said no. He thought it was his friend playing a joke, so he hung up the phone. But incidentally, it was a real deal. They called back. They said, "This is real, and we want you to come to California." Well, he had to explain, "I don't have a band. However, I do want to come to California." And that's where I met Chris. They brought him to Santa Barbara to play with Derek, the drummer for Lagwagon. I met Chris and became the bass player, and that's the rest is history, so they say.
Right
so
on.
Magic does happen in the bathroom and the bedroom. Sorry, the bedroom.
I saw I saw one when Paul McCartney went back to his old house as a kid in England, and he went with the guys. He does the singing in the car where they all bust out.
Oh yeah, James Corden.
And so he goes into the bathroom there and he goes, "And this is where John recorded a lot of our stuff, because this bathroom has a great acoustics."
Yeah, that's why I said bathroom, because Chris did all the vocals in a bathroom because the acoustics are great in there. And so between his bedroom and the bathroom, that's where the ATARIS were born for sure.
That's cool. All right, let's jump in.
Going, and I got that line on the keyboard, da 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 da. And so I was just playing around with the drum machine, really, and got that little tune together, and then put some guitars on it. Didn't think much about it. And then, I don't know, a week later, Tom Petty and Jimmy Iovine were over at my house, and I played them my demo, and they said, "I think that's music's a little jazzy for what we're doing right now," and I agreed with them. So I put it aside. And this song almost didn't happen. I mean, it could have ended up on the shelf, still collecting dust. But Jimmy called me a week later and said Don Henley was looking for some music for his first solo record. And I remembered that track, and he did too. So I went back and tidied it up a little bit and put it on a little cassette and drove over to Don Henley's house, who I'd never met before. And we sat at the end of a long table, and he had a little cassette player, and he put the cassette on, and he just did this. He didn't tap a foot or move his head or anything. He listened all the way through, and I thought he hated it. And so we finished, and he goes, "Okay, well, I'll see what I can do with that," and I left. On the way home, my phone rings, and it's Don. He's going, "I've written the best song I've written in 10 years. And I said, "Okay, let's go and make the record." So we did. We went in and copied my demo, which was really hard because I had just done it off the top of my head. All those guitar licks, I had to count them and put them in the right place because Don wanted it just like the demo. So we spent a week or more on the thing. Overdubs, harmonies, synthesizers, guitars, everything on there. And then Don comes in one day and goes, "I want to change the key." But before I tell you that story, this is where the song almost didn't happen, okay? The Lindrum, I don't want to get too long-winded. Back then, you would save your patterns onto a cassette. So you stick the cassette in, and you call up the pattern that you have, which was Boys of Summer, and you push save, and it saves some kind of digital thing onto the cassette. And then when you want to load the song back in, you put the cassette back in, hit load, voila, your song comes up. So I went down to the studio with my little Linn drum and sat out in the room. And they said, okay, go put it on your drum machine and we'll record it onto the analog tape. And I sat on the floor out there and I pushed play and it just said error. I took my cassette out, put it in like 5 or 6 times. Every time I would push load, it would say error. And so I'm just back there by myself, sitting on the floor going, they're all waiting for me in the control room and go, fuck, this is messed up. My song's gone. I'm gonna look like a fool. They're gonna think I'm an idiot. The thing didn't work. So I tried it one more time, load, boom, it loaded up. By some miracle, thank you, God. So I called him, I said, hurry, record this right away because the drum machine is really acting weird. And we played it down once and put it on tape. Okay, then Don wanted to change the key, which took a whole other week to change the key up to a higher voice, because he had, in his singing genius, had realized that if it was higher, he could push it and get certain things out of it. And he was right. The Heartbreakers never did that. We brought a song in, it's in A, it goes in A, sing it, okay, make it work. We never thought to change the key for the voice, but Don did. So the record came out. Oh, and another place where we almost lost the record, we took the mix, and we had to turn it in that afternoon to the record company at 6 o'clock. We ran over to the mastering, and we were mastering it, and we put the tape up, and as it was rolling by, I looked over and I saw the back of the analog tape peeling off onto the floor in a pile. And so I said, stop the tape! And they looked at me, oh no, so some guy went over there and painstakingly got some glue and taped the backing back onto the tape. We got it to play through one time for the mastering, and that was the record. So we're driving back to the studio, we've got our little mix, and Don's so excited, he's driving his Porsche, I'm sitting in the passenger seat. He got so excited, he was blasting as loud as he could go. He ran up on the curb and almost wrecked the car. And then, the song came out, and it was really great for my family and I, because it actually paid for our house that we were about to foreclose on. So it was the perfect timing. But I remember when it came out on the radio, I was out jogging. I had a little Walkman on here at the college, and they played the new song by Don Henley, written by Mike Campbell with Don, and they played it 3 times in a row on KLOS, which never happens. And that's when I knew this is going to be a serious hit. So I was really lucky to get that song, and almost didn't happen at all. And so the lesson there for you songwriter producers is, when you hit a stumbling block, you gotta keep going. Don't give up. Just keep pushing, and working till you get it right. And eventually, all the elements will come together if you're blessed, and you'll have a hit record. So have a good holiday. And my band, the Dirty Knobs, is going to start rehearsing real soon. We're doing a couple of videos. We've got a great record ready to go, and a tour coming up. We'll start small and work our way up, and we'll see you out there. And me and the broadcaster say, have a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, cool guy, man.
Yeah, Mike Campbell is super cool. He spends a lot of time in Santa Barbara. I don't know if you knew that or not, because we both, me and you, Joel, have Santa Barbara in common. And he often plays the Soho over there, little club with the Dirty Knobs, and does some stuff over there with like Jeff Bridges and stuff. And he is a really, really cool guy. Now, I have heard that story before, but I'd never heard him tell that. I heard it secondhand. So I had heard most of the stuff, but I never heard the stuff about like the tape spooling on the floor and things like that. That's really, really super cool. I did hear the part before about the drums not loading, the drum machine, the first drum machine not loading. And yeah, he's a cool guy. I saw Tom Petty. I saw him play with Tom Petty in 2 opposite ends of their career, really. I saw them in 1986 at the Paso Fair, and Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers and Bob Dylan, they did that tour together. It was a classic one tour, and I waited in line with these 3 girls from high school. We waited in line for 3 days. It was back when you camped, right? You camped to get tickets, and we got second row. And Mike Campbell was so amazing. Just like, you know, Tom Petty was great, Bob Dylan was great, but Mike Campbell, I always thought was incredible. And same with the drummer, Stan Ridgway. I don't know if you remember him from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Sure, of course, yeah.
And then I saw them in Little Rock on their last tour, literally 10 days before Tom Petty died. I saw them on that tour. I think they played the Hollywood Bowl is the last show they ever played. I might have saw them 10 shows before that. And again, Mike Campbell, he looked like a kid still out there running around, and you could tell Tom was feeling age. I don't want to say much more than that, but Mike Campbell he's just great. And you know, I always knew when we covered Boys of Summer, I always knew that he wrote that song, right? I knew that he wrote the music and Henley wrote the lyrics, and it takes two great artists like that to make a song that incredible. And you know my Boys of Summer stories that I have from Henley, but I've never gotten a chance to talk to Mike Campbell about it. So I hope someday that I will be able to.
Oh, yeah. We're going to make it up. All right. So if you got time for another one here, what I've done is I've selected a great country musician who's doing a cover of Boys of Summer. And so,
okay.
Yeah, I want to see what you say. So if you're ready, we'll jump into that one.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. I now have a Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Discord, and even a Patreon. The Patreon you can join for as little as $1. The handle on all of them, it's of course, Joel Roadie. I'll see you guys on the next one.